What's up, guys? Where y'all been? Haven't seen in a long time. What's up? Y'all left me hanging? What's going on with that, huh? I'm just joking, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Tuned Engines. As y'all can see, we have the White Stallion, aka Pegasus, right behind me. I know it's been a while since I went ahead and did my last upload, but there's a lot of stuff to explain to y'all and also show y'all, because this truck, it's the same from the outside, but from the inside, I'm talking the engine bay, has been completely modified.
Same, but different.
So let's go ahead and get to it. Alright, guys, so if I remember correctly, the last time I posted a video was like in 2023. Oh snap, it's been a long time. But at that time, this truck was running a carb. Specifically, it was like, I think a Holly carb or whatever. And like, you know, it was running and everything, but it wasn't running to its maximum potential. And the reason why it wasn't running to its maximum potential is because I was having some issues when it came to tuning the carb. Like tuning, you know, like you fix like the vacuum, all that stuff. Well, anyway, like it didn't matter like how many times like I would like try to like, you know, adjust small things, adjust this, adjust over here. But whenever I would be driving on the road, and as soon as I would start decelerating, my truck would completely, like, you know, start losing RPM until it would completely turn off. And I already know what y'all are gonna say, like, hey, yo, you can't tune the carb. Well, unfortunately, I cannot. Well, at least this one specifically, like, cause I went ahead and ran this Carburetor carb and also my Honey carb, and both times I had the same exact issue. As soon as I would start decelerating or coming to a stop, the truck would start losing RPM and eventually die. So that was like one of the main things I was like battling with this truck until I did some research. In order for us to get the regular carb running correctly, we have to go ahead and actually tune it and be messing with vacuum and all that stuff, okay? Even though like I have vacuum gauge and everything, I could not figure it out. And while I was doing research, I found about this cool thing called electronic fuel injection. I'm doing research and I find a specific product I like, which catches my attention. I'm looking at the product, I've seen all the stuff it comes with, and I knew if I wanted this product, I was gonna have to do a lot of different stuff to get this truck where it will meet the requirements for that specific product. And that specific product I was talking about was an EFI system, fuel injection. And even though I wanted to convert to EFI, I knew it was gonna be a big problem, because now you have to deal with fuel pressure, you have to deal with like different sensors, etc, etc, etc. But with Ricky Bobby looking down on me, I knew I could get it done. So like Ricky Bobby once said, if you ain't first, you're last. And I was like, you know what, I want to be first and shake and bake. Oh yeah, let me look at the one I want. Let me see. This one looks cool. Holy smokes, this thing is expensive. And after looking at the wallet, we have $1.25. And this was fine if we wanted a Krabby Patty from the Krusty Krab. So I had to get creative and get some more money. Thankfully, I knew what to do. Okay, tortoise price. Okay, yep, that's the one okay. Holy smoke, 1,500 plus. Hello, Donna Shello. And just like that, we had the money we needed. Let's go. Thank you, Donna Shello, for the sacrifice. So I went ahead and ordered my EFI system, and it got delivered. Now let me go ahead and show y'all all the stuff I had to do to get this thing to where it was running. And to be honest, guys, the installation was the easiest part. But let me show y'all the issues we had to overcome. And I know what you might be thinking, you shaking bakers. Like, hey, don't you already have fuel for the carb? Well, yes I do, but I only have 8 PSI. You see, these carbs generally only need 8 PSI to run. If you push more fuel through them, they're gonna explode. Just joking, they're gonna go overflow, you're gonna mess up the internals, okay? Well, with my fuel injection setup, I needed to rack up those numbers, bro. Those are rookie numbers. We had to be at least 44 PSI, okay? Anywhere from 44 or higher, but not too high, okay? All right, guys, and I know you might be thinking, hey, what's EFI? Let me go ahead and explain to y'all really quick so y'all know. Let me explain. The carburetor on the left is my Holly. I used to have this on my engine. The one on the right is the EFI system I was gonna purchase. As you can see, they look the same from the outside, but are different from the inside.
Same, but different.
Now, let me explain to you the main difference between both of these systems. First main difference is that a carburetor uses a float style fuel delivery system. This means that a carburetor has a really small gas tank on the inside, and once it's full, it closes. Think of it as a toilet in your house. Once the holding tank is full of water, it stops filling. Now imagine the engine in your car as a giant vacuum, and each time you press the throttle, the stronger the vacuum gets. Using the vacuum created by the engine, the fuel jets draw into a fast-moving airstream, mixing air and fuel into a fine mist for combustion, using a venturi, also known as a throttle body, to speed up and lower pressure. Well, this is how essentially a carburetor works. Fuel is constantly getting sucked through the port or main jet and mixing with air. The more you press the throttle and open the valve, the more the fuel and air gets sucked in. Although this is completely fine and works, this is a fixed thing, meaning once you set your initial fuel and ratio, it cannot be changed at all, even though the engine is at different RPM. This is where the main difference is. This EFI system, instead of having a float design, actually has fuel injectors inside, like a modern car, which can be tuned specifically to your desires. For example, let's say you want your engine to be rich at idle, but once you start cruising down the highway, you can change the injector's pulse to fire less and use less fuel, resulting in better gas mileage. And this is just the start, guys, because these EFI systems are completely tunable, every little aspect. And FYI, guys, there is way more differences between the EFI system and the car, but these are the two main ones that make a big difference. So even though my head is full of knowledge and geniusism, my first obstacle was the fuel. So you might be asking yourself, hey, how'd you fix that? But let me go ahead and explain to you why this was a little bit of an issue for someone like me. So we're gonna go ahead and have to take out the offsetting unit and have to modify so you can accept the fuel pump. Thankfully, a lot of people have done this and they actually have a little guide. So I'm gonna go ahead and follow it so we can go ahead and convert this thing to EFI and install this electric fuel pump. Let's go. And just like that, we went ahead and installed our return line. Now we're gonna go ahead and bend it so we can go ahead and match the original. Ooh, and this is how it's looking. Nice. And you see, guys, I didn't want to run like just regular fuel lines, because usually regular fuel lines, like rubber ones for example, yes, you can buy the one that can hold like a lot of fuel pressure, but they get kind of pricey. So I went ahead and went with these. This, guys, is braided fuel line. It can go up to 750 psi, and they're super duper cool. And I went ahead and also did some AM fittings. But in order for me to show y'all the fuel lines, you have to go ahead and get underneath the truck. Alright, guys, so here is all the fuel stuff I did. So that's my my fuel filter. I think it's no, I know it's a 10 micron. I went ahead and left all my regular fuel lines on, but I'm gonna take them off in the future. But so this is how all my fuel line goes. It goes all the way over there to the front of the truck, all the way to the front. And yes, those are zip ties holding on my fuel lines. I live life on the edge. And as you can see, guys, oof, the fuel pressure for days. Now that we had the fuel pressure figured out and working, next was the O2 sensor. You see, an EFI system needs an O2 sensor, which is gonna read your air to fuel ratio. Once it reads that, you can make adjustments. Like, oh, maybe it might be running too lean. Or no, let me give it a little more fuel right here. So it was a crucial thing we needed. The thing is that I went ahead and made an exhaust for this truck already, and all I had to do was weld the O2 sensor bong it came with, which I did, and it leaked. But thankfully, my buddies at Amazon make this leak down tester kit. So I went ahead and plugged this up to the exhaust, and I could see all the leaks. So I went ahead and just welded all of them multiple times until I was for sure there was not going to be any leaks on the exhaust. All the way from the exhaust manifold all the way to the exit, which worked. Alright, guys, well, you see, once I had everything installed that the system required, I was so excited, to turn on the truck. But I didn't want to start. Could it have been because I forgot to connect the super duper important connector? Or nope. Maybe the issue was I forgot to refill the tank with gas. Nope. So after doing some research, why doesn't my truck work? So right now we're actually looking at the tune, and you can actually see that there's no fuel being delivered to the system. So I went ahead and made some adjustments to the BEA table, and this is how it looks like now. Now, I was able to get started, but it's not going to be running perfectly fine. We still have to get it tuned. Alright guys, and even though I tried doing a lot of research and also try making my own tune, like, and check, start checking like all this stuff, adjust all the stuff I could, I was able to get it to start, but it was running horrible. Like, it wouldn't stay on unless I kept on pressing the throttle a bunch of times. But thankfully I found someone that can tune it. So I went ahead and scheduled a meeting with the tuner, and before you know it, he had the truck running super duper cool. And this is how the truck sounded the same day after the tune was done. It was working phenomenal. Woo! Alright guys, and this is how the final product is. So as you can see, this is my fuel injection, this is my throttle body right here, and like you can see like all my fuel lines, my wiring harness. I still have to like make it perfect and super duper nice, but like as of right now, it has been driving phenomenal and I haven't had any issue. And something that really impressed me about this EFI system was that all the tunable stuff you can do to it, like all those small variables you can change to make the truck run better. But there you go guys, you're all updated. So that was how I went ahead and installed this EFI system on my 468 big block Chevy 1971 C10, aka White Stallion, aka Pegasus. So yeah guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.